Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Folkwise. Here with Annemarie Anderson this particular episode. Thanks for playing South Scrimshaw with us, or at least the beginning to middle part of it. We're gonna see. I consulted my partner on during the break, and we might not be able to finish it tonight. And also, it apparently gets a little more intense. So, I don't know. We'll see how we feel as the 11 p.m. hour hits for that. But before that, very importantly, we have an interview with Annemarie. Dom, do you want to do the thing that we always do before we start the interview?
407 years ago, our forefathers brought forth on this continent. Too many fours. Hey everyone, you see me and Daisy on screen, and you're like, "Wow, the two of them do all the work, writing all the questions and play all the games." But no, that's not true, because Daisy and I also at our disposal have the intrepid, wonderful, and immense. Vast is the word I was looking for.
Yes.
Folkwise interview sleuths who help us curate questions, write them for the guests every week. So, Annemarie, chat. If you hear a question you like, you think, "Wow, how did they know that?" Don't thank us, thank the sleuths. And I'm out, Daisy.
Yes, and if you have your sleuth emotes, feel free to use them at any point to cheer on the question or the answer to the question, whatever works. Annemarie, are you ready for your first question?
I guess so.
Okay, cool. All right, we want to know, how do folklife and traditional arts help us understand and explain the cultural complexities of the South in ways that other disciplines cannot?
That's like a big question.
No, it's kind of a big question. It's kind of a big question.
First one's always
kind of a big question.
Yeah. You guys we're just gonna go straight in. That's cool.
The whales were the warm up.
Yeah, the whales were the warm up.
Okay, that's fine. I think for me, I was having a friend conversation with some of my colleagues, and we were talking about, so my specialty within folk studies really is, folklore studies is foodways. And I come from it from a kind of roundabout way, because my background, my educational background is in history and public history, and specifically oral history. So I've been doing this work for a long time without saying I'm a public folklorist. And I was talking with some of my, because I think that imposter syndrome is always there, right? It just is. And I think that's true for everyone. And so I was talking to Casey, and I was like, she's like, food's just kind of your thing. And I was like, because it was my family's thing. It was just the thing that we had. It was the thing that was meant something to us. It was the way that we could show care. It was the way that what we would turn to, for celebration and for sadness and grief, and because it was Tuesday, for any reason, right? And then there are stories that are connected to all of those dishes and things. And so I think it could be food for you, it could be craft, it could be music, it could be a lot of things. I think there's a lot of, and the South's a weird place. It is a huge region, and one that's pathologized, and one that people like to tell. If I'm from the South, if I'm from Alabama, if I'm from Georgia, if I'm from Florida, wherever I'm from, they want to tell you about who you are and where you're from. And I think that there's a lot of, I think what folklore and folk life and traditional culture can teach us, it can be a bridge, because I think food does that, right? Especially if you think about, you were mentioning migration earlier.
Yeah.
If you think about people coming to the United States or from outside of the region, people who are newcomers, maybe they come from Yemen, or maybe they come from India, or maybe they come from Western Europe, doesn't matter. There are connections. And then there are these really beautiful regional sub pockets, and then people find you think about bindi fry if you go to an Indian restaurant. like it's okra, right? Like that's what bindi is. And so I think that that's the beautiful thing is like we can use that as a point of connection, and we can use it as a way of like, this is my cultural capital. I think that like, and now I'm just droning on, but like I'm based in Alabama. What do you think about when you think of Alabama? That's an actual question.
Football.
Yeah, yeah.
What do people think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess like football, or maybe I don't know.
White sauce.
Yeah, I don't know. I think of like fraught histories sometimes too, and like that's part of the narrative that I understand.
I already said football.
That I understand is like put on that place too, but
yeah,
and it's funny that you say that too, because I have like two friends who are in my department who came from Alabama, like they lived there and they went to school there, and I'm like, still like feel like I'm unfortunately drawing more blanks than I care to admit to, but I guess I'm here. No, it's true. It's like, you know, when you're from a yeah. Anyway, continue. Yeah, this is a great point.
No, yeah, I think that's like in terms of like the folk culture surrounding sports.
Yeah.
That I think in this state, I grew up in Alabama's backyard, but didn't realize until like moving here, these people are insane about football in like a unhinged way.
Really unhinged.
Like I'm truly unhinged.
I'm familiar with some of the unhinged purely because I go to Ohio State, but I'm sure it's different, but yes, people can get unhinged.
Yeah. It's pretty unhinged. So I don't know. I guess for me, like it's kind of like a Trojan horse a little bit, because like people think a lot of about like who I am and where I'm from because of the way I talk or because of the way I decide to eat. But I think that those things then can become points of connections, or they're interesting. They're interesting points. Before I had a career doing this, I applied to many jobs. And the only job I got was being a civics teacher in a 7th grade class in Grand Ridge, Florida. And I was trying to teach my kids about naturalization. And these are kids who mostly, the school was like largely white kids or black kids. There were a couple of different kind of kids who were from Latinx or South Asian backgrounds, but not many at all. And I was trying to think, how can I do that? And I have a colleague, Ava Lowry, when she was at the Southern Foodways Alliance, made this gorgeous film about the Kurdish population in Nashville. It's like one of the biggest Kurdish populations in the United States. And it was all about their food and their experience. And I thought, this is a great way to show these kids about these people who they might think something about them because of the way that they dress, because of their religion, because of being here and they don't look like them or talk like them. And so I showed them that video and they had all these questions. They were like, why, like, what's this food? And they were connecting with this woman's experience who was talking about being a refugee and living in a refugee camp and about her experiences moving to the United States. And it was a different experience than maybe they had been given in the past. And I was able to do that through a narrative surrounding food to show like these other people's experience. And I think that was a really powerful moment for me as a person. Like I learned from that. Like there is power in doing the work that we do. And I don't know. It was cool. So that's, I guess my rambly way to answer your question.
Okay, so a couple times guests will say like, wow, it's a really big question, and then give a fucking perfect answer to it, like, and you just crushed it. So I just want to let you know that you were like, oh wow, that's a big one, and then just like gave a wonderful, like, totally comprehensible, tangible example of exactly what
semi-autobiographical.
Semi-autobiographical. It was great all
you.
around. Up next, we have another question for you that is about foodways. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's an iconic foodways tradition endemic to the South that people who haven't lived there wouldn't realize was so deep-rooted in Southern culture?
I feel like that's a loaded question because if you think about sub-regionalities,
that's fair.
Right, like My
Kids with
experience is
sub-regionalities.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
regionalities.
Hell yeah.
We didn't want to get so specific that you like couldn't come up with something like I don't know. We didn't want to get so specific that like yeah. Anyway,
let me be the voice for the
yeah.
Best case scenario was this, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well maybe I can share a couple, like some really endemic, really fun, really cool things. I think the barbecue tradition in the South is really strong, and I think within that, like there's so many different types, and people have like big feelings about it, mostly men. Honestly, there's this little, I don't know, I'm not gonna get into that. So there's all this thing about barbecue. My mom, we're not Texans. She calls me the other day and she was like, I've got this kielbasa and I don't know how to use it. And I just don't know how to use this. And then I was like, well, let me tell you a little bit about the history of whole country barbecue and why it's this way, and the Polish and German immigration into Texas. And then like I was 10 minutes into that and I said, but you did not call to hear me tell you that. And being a good mama that she is, she said, I learned so much. Thank you very much.
She's like, I was trying to cook.
Like really into it.
She's like, I'm trying to cook this, but that's really interesting.
Yeah. I was like, just cut it up into coins and fry and like pan fry it. That's really cool. I'm trying to think about Kentucky has this stuff called burgoo.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of barbecue, now that I'm going into, and that's a fun little like almost border place because it's in Owensboro. So it's a mutton-based barbecue, so it's sheep, and they use mutton. And then it's kind of like Brunswick stewy, kind of, but it's called burgoo, which is cool. Fry your kielbasa in Coke.
I was like, I've never heard of that, but I love that for you. Yeah.
But it's kind of salty. When I've had kielbasa, it's a little salty, so that might like cut that.
I know, and now I'm thinking about the sauerkraut necessity next to kielbasa often, and how South Scrimshaw was like, if you go to outer space in the galactic mission, you're gonna miss all the microbes.
That's right.
You're gonna miss all the microbes. Yeah.
Here's one fun one, and I guess endemic. This isn't really endemic because you're thinking about like what are entrenched traditions.
Yeah.
But here's a fun thing. So I'm based in Montgomery, which is the state capital of Alabama, and we're located south central in the state. And around Montgomery, there's a Hyundai plant, there's a Kia plant, and there are a couple other automaker plants. And because of Hyundai and Kia's big presence, there is a huge Korean population. So people who've migrated from South Korea to the U.S. And so there are like a ton of Korean restaurants in our city because of that, which is, I think, pretty cool for being like a really small city. But I don't know. I guess I could keep on going, but I think barbecue's big. Perfect. I think low country food ways also another sub-regional especially. And I'll stop talking again.
No, I have like so many follow-ups I'm gonna get into. Daisy, can I just blast?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Oh my God, Annemarie, when I worked at a men's warehouse in Kentucky, one of the suit guys made squirrel burgoo and brought it in. It was the greatest.
That sounds amazing.
It's real good.
Would partake.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing.
Also, do you know about Polish boys? Wait, do you know the Ohio foodways item, the Polish boy?
Yeah.
Not do you know about like boys from Poland?
Boys from Poland? I mean, I don't really know much about that either.
Okay. Put a kielbasa on the smoker.
Yeah.
And then lay it on a hoagie roll with like the mayo-y coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and French fries. Tell that to your mom next time.
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay, I'll try it.
Yeah, we were thinking a little bit too about your previous job as the lead oral historian for the Southern Foodways Alliance too. So like if there was anybody that you interviewed or connected with like during your time there as an oral historian that maybe had like a specific foodway. But you pretty much covered the answer.
Yeah,
I mean, you got all kinds of, you had
Yeah.
all kinds of good examples.
I have-
But yeah.
For that too, okay, so I'll keep talking about this because I've been, for
Do it.
whatever reason, thinking about her lately. There is a woman who is a food writer and scholar, mostly a cookbook author, in South Louisiana. Her name is Marcel Bienvenu. Some of you all may know about her, but she was the first interview I did at SFA. I drove
Aw.
down to Thibodaux, Louisiana, where she works at
Yeah.
Nicholls State University. And she works in their culinary department there, or she used to. That was, I guess, 6 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And just like the most, she's just from South Louisiana, just like very, very Cajun, like very warm, like had this like excellent way of just like spinning a yarn and to talking about food and talking about her experiences in New Orleans in the 1980s. And yeah, that was a really fun interview, and I really enjoyed that one. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and I learned about mock shoe with her, and
Oh,
love
mock
to cook
shoe.
it now.
Wait, I don't know what
Yeah.
mock shoe is.
Mock shoe, so it's like that's French. It's like for isn't mock. I can barely speak English, so
Yeah, and like what would that be for?
supposed to be.
Are you saying what mock
She
shoe
was
means?
cabbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Summer
think
cabbage.
mock is like smothered cabbage or something like that. But it's what it is corn. It's
that's
corn
fun.
that you take off the cob and you cook it in bacon fat and heavy cream.
Yeah.
And it is delicious.
It
is very good. It's kind of like a creamed corn.
Yeah, it's like a very specific kind of cream corn. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's nice. But yeah.
All right. Taking another question that is more relevant maybe to our gameplay earlier. Finally, we get to talk about the oysters. So, we were curious, literally and figuratively, how do oysters clarify their environments?
I think that's great. So literally speaking, so I think it's interesting watching that little whale move around,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He seems to be like almost like this keystone species. He's like a
Yeah.
gopher tortoise or an oyster. And they're keystone species. And so what that means is they're like central organisms to their environment. The other organisms live with them and rely on them in some way. So like if you think of a gopher tortoise, if you're in the wiregrass or in South Florida, they're these tortoises that they dig, these big old burrows, and then all these other little creatures like snakes and everything live with them. And if you see one, your mother, whoever, my aunt had a gopher tortoise den in her yard. And my mom, anytime we were over there playing, she or my aunt would be like, don't go near that because there could be a snake there. And so you just learn those kinds of things as you grow up. And so oysters, sorry, coming back around to oysters are that way too. So literally speaking, they are bivalve, and that means that they are water filters. So they are taking out things of the water. They're like filtering the water to get their food, to get kind of like macronutrients and that kind of stuff. I think it's been a minute since I've talked about oysters. I used to you couldn't get me to shut up about them.
Good.
But
good.
So they're filtering the water, and as they do that, as they're getting those nutrients, they're getting whatever else is in the water, which is why they're so heavily regulated. That's why, if there's a sewage spillage or if water levels aren't right, FDAX is shutting that down, or whoever in your state, they're going to shut that down. You can't eat that because the bad stuff, Vibrio vulnificus, which is the thing that can make you really sick and can kill you if you eat it. Speaking of the things that live in our bodies, virus, you don't want that. That's not good. So they are filtering the water, which is why in aquaculture specifically, oyster farmers, people who are putting oysters into the water, why it's like a carbon neutral thing. Because you're putting something in, it's positively impacting that environment. And then when you take it out, you're probably going to put some more back in. So there's that. But also they become, so here's the fun thing about oysters. Oysters, like clams, have a little foot, and so they move around.
Mm-hmm.
They move around the sand. Oysters, when they're spat, which are baby oysters, they're teeny tiny little larvae, they have a foot too. And whatever they put that foot down on, it stays there for the rest of its life.
Okay, not unlike the baby
So-
in the game. Oh my gosh.
Not unlike
Oh
the baby
my
whale,
gosh. Oh my
which
gosh.
is why it's like oysters.
Yeah.
So, why like it would be beautiful for that like oysters, because they're rocky. If you see them in the wild, they're like blades. You
Yeah.
know, like they're long. They're kind of like a hand's kind of like that, and they
Mm-hmm.
curved, and they can get huge,
Yeah.
and they can live for a really long time. And so I think for that, and then also I think in terms of bringing this back to people, the people who grow them, the people who are harvesters of them, who are doing that work, they are people who are so in tune with their environment because their livelihood is connected to that environment. So conservation is important to them. The natural the natural rhythms of the tides are important to them because that could mean life or death.
Yeah.
What is going on in terms of the is it going to rain today? What is the humidity? How hot is it going to be? Is it choppy out? Is it not? What does it look like? Those are important because that could mean either good things or bad things for them or their whatever they're harvesting. And so they're observers, they're noticers, they're people who delight in being in this place and they want to share that with you. And it is one of the most beautiful and humbling experiences to be with them and to get to notice and to experience and to kind of, I think oysters are quiet, right? Like I said, when they put their little foot down when they're babies, and they make, if they're on a reef or if they're just,
Yeah.
in bags, there are little crabs that are crawling all over them. Black drum which is a type of fish. They're swimming in there. Sheep's head fish also, which are fish with teeth, which if you don't know what they look like, you should definitely look at them.
What are they called?
Sheep's head. And it's good eating too. So these fish live around them. These
also foodways.
crabs
Yeah.
live around here.
It's all part of the yeah.
This guy.
Ruddy
is totally weird.
turnstones, which I really love, which are birds. So they're birds around there because they're like, ooh, good eating,
Yeah.
So like, they're doing so many good things for its place. Yeah, I didn't even get into miroir, but
well, you're making me think. I mean, I have so many like. I mean, I guess you made a great point that like oysters, they're kind of like they're extremely unassuming. They almost look like just rocks you might walk over, yet have this huge role in the ecosystem that it's cool that you got to be so connected to and that other, farmers are connected to and that a folklorist can get in there and understand like how all of these interconnections are happening in this kind of like everyday way. Do you consider like oyster clarification as in the clarification of the water, like that process, a metaphor for your relationship to Florida? This was like a sort of sidebar that we thought of because you had hinted maybe at like, this kind of connection to oysters, not just for the land, but also like how you think about the world.
Yeah. Actually, I think I have there on that my family's been there for 6 generations. I think it's actually 5 generations, so I need to go back and fix that. But they've been there since on my dad's side, like pre air conditioning.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. Yeah, it's
they're free on both sides of the family. Hey, we are pre-air conditioner Florida. I, think that in a way, yeah, because I don't know, like it's like a weird place, right? And it's a place that I feel like there are places that choose you and that you choose them back in really like beautiful ways. And I mean, you don't get to choose the place that you grow up. That's not how that works. And so I think that, and the Panhandle's a weird place, right? Because I feel like sometimes I felt like the girl from nowhere. in a way, because I think about that sub-regionality. I went to the University of Florida for undergrad and then a master's in history. And you hear what I sound like. I don't sound like what you would think about a girl from Florida sounds like. And my friend Patrick, he's at OSU now. He works in the oral history collections there, and he grew up in Ocala. And he's like, you're the first person that showed me that you can be from Florida and you can be Southern too. And I was like, Pat, like we've always been here. Like Florida's the deep South.
Yeah, you're like, why am I the first person to teach you that? But also, okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's how it was. This is a funny aside. So my brother got married in Dade City, 2 weekends ago. And we had his wedding reception at the Pioneer Museum there of Florida. And so we were in this like barn, and they had like all of these like rusting tractors, and there was like this forestry stuff like on the wall. Like there were some cat faces and there's some turpentine cups. So my dad's family came here from South Georgia to be a part of. They were sawyers, so they were had a sawmill. Some of his family, and he worked in it with his uncle and cousins when he was a young man. And so all of a sudden, I'm trying to put together 16 floral arrangements, and I look over, and there he is. He is ensnared 5 retirees, and he is telling them about the naval stores industry.
Oh my goodness.
He had them there for like 15 minutes.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
That's
he was
amazing.
like, and my family were pioneers as well, but we are from the Panhandle. And I was like, Dad, come on now. Anyway, it was kind of funny though.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't even know I was telling you that or where I was going with that. Oh, being a girl from nowhere. So I think that like going to UF, like one of the things I got there, like UF is huge. It's giant. I came from a very small place. And so I go into the English department because I was like, I'm going to be an English professor. That's what I'm going to do with my life. And I go in there and I sit down with a guy and I'm like, I'd like to study William Faulkner, please. And he looked at me and he was like, you idiot. We don't have a Southern literature person.
What?
And
wow, that's interesting.
No. He was like, our Southerners left like 20 years ago. And I was like, first of all, you're rude.
Yeah. Yeah. Rude.
But where I ended up, I know. Well, where I ended up was the history department because there isn't really like folk studies at UF. There's anthropology, but that wasn't my thing. But history was, and there was this really robust Southern history group, and I ended up yelling about stuff in the English department enough that they were like, hey, Boo, are you okay? Go to Samuel Proctor Oral History Program. And so they were like, you are not well, and these people are also maybe not well, so go there.
Yeah.
And I ended up learning so much. I actually got to even spend a summer. He had passed away by this point. But I got to spend a summer doing field work in St. Augustine, and while I was there, I worked in Stetson Kennedy's last study. And if you don't know who he is, he was an activist and folklorist in Florida. He worked with Zora Hurston. He infiltrated the Klan.
I was gonna say, if you don't know who he is, there's an episode of Drunk History about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not seen that, but you mentioned that before. Yeah. So he was this total. He was this he was pretty cool. So I think it was always there around me, but I think what I realized through studying, because I wanted to know where I was from, I wanted to understand it for myself, because I saw all these things around me and I thought, these things are important and I don't understand them the way that they need to be understood. And I understood that but couldn't articulate that. And so I just got a liberal arts major so I could do that. And ended up kind of coming to terms with the fact that I am from somewhere. I'm from a place called the Wiregrass, and the Wiregrass is a really important place. And culturally speaking, we are connected to the ecology of our land with these big longleaf pine forests and this beautiful wiregrass. And, that those things are important. And the way that we eat, the way that we talk, the way that people think Sacred Heart, they do, like race relations, gender, religion, all these things kind of connect to this place and the forces that kind of made it. So I kind of like reclaim that for myself, but it doesn't stop people who are ignorant from saying like, but no, you're not from Florida. Then like, where am I from?
Yeah, what?
You know?
Where do you want me to be from is maybe because put it back. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
People say that a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, I see a lot of parallels in just that beautiful story of your relationship and your family and your own history about your place to the oyster, and that kind of like unassuming, but also really like the process of learning about your own community and your culture is also a kind of like clarification of all of the like the bits of information you are gathering, like about as you grow up about who you are and what you do, and like now you're able to filter it out so that other people can get that clarity that the oyster offers. I love that. That's so cool, Annemarie. That's really special.
That's such a thoughtful connection.
That's true, honestly. Well,
they're good at that.
All I'm saying is that would be a really cool paper. I think it would be very meaningful because I think that you're totally right. I'm just saying.
And I'm just picturing like an oyster on a reef ball going, "I'm a girl from nowhere," not realizing.
Oh my god.
She's in like the Apalachicola or something,
God damn it! Yeah. I got another meme to make for you. God damn it! That's great. That was really a beautiful answer. Thank you for sharing that with us. I feel honored. I feel honored to have heard your sort of story of becoming you. That's really cool.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. Well, we have another question for you before some of our funsy questions. They're a little bit more like rapid fire. So,
okay.
I'll go ahead and ask this. In a world of long-form public programming, why make a short-form podcast?
Do you want the real answer?
Yeah.
It's because that's what they told us. They were like, you have 2 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Well, give us a little bit more about, Dom, if you want to do the follow-up too at any point. Yeah. I
am very grateful for Troy Public Radio. Let me just say that, because they've been our partners at the State Arts Council and for those of you who didn't hear before, so my colleague Stephanie Priscos and Stephanie's been on the show before, at the Arts Council, we produce a podcast called Artsville in Alabama, which is a fun little riff on Starsville in Alabama.
It is! Okay! It is! That was our next question, yeah. I love it.
Yeah, and of course Stephanie came up with it because she's brilliant. But arts is also like an anagram of star.
Oh, shoot! We didn't get to that part. Yeah. We just got to level 1, and you just made. Oh my God. Wow! Yeah. I'm glad that came up.
Expanded brain. You're the galactic.
Yeah,
brain.
you're fucking galactic brain right now.
That's not something that like that was like a happy accident. So that was pretty great when we figured that out. Not long after, she was like, "What about Artsville in Alabama?" And I was like, "You brilliant hussy." But. So we did that, and then also like you guys know it's a song, but it's also a book, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so Carl Karmer was a folklorist in the 30s, and he was not from Alabama, but he came down here and he kind of fell in love with it. So there's also like a little bit of a nod to that as well. So we've actually had a radio program at the State Arts Council for like 20 years, like for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was an interview-based podcast. And it's, to be clear, like we're not just doing like folk and traditional arts work. That's our favorite part of it. We love doing those.
Yeah.
And sometimes like we fight over who gets to do them. But they not really fight, but it's like,
yeah,
like one of us is like, oh, I want to do this, and they're like, okay, you can do it. Anyway, so we have worked with them for a long time, but I think the interviews weren't always really engaging, because sometimes they were like with arts administrators, and it was like just two friends chatting about some grants, which is as interesting as it sounds, which is to say, not very interesting at all.
I see.
So I think one of the things is, like, we had to do it because they were like, we're going to move you to a different time slot that's going to be better for you. It's during drive time. But we, like, it's going to be a smaller little bite. But we really put a lot of work into thinking about, okay, who is our audience and what can we make this? Because I think a lot of times people think of the arts and they might think that, like, oh, this is about opera or this is about ballet.
Sure.
And it's not something that I'm interested in because I'm a 65-year-old man living in Andalusia, Alabama.
Yeah.
And so I think that we wanted to present little bites to entice people to learn more about what's going on in the arts in their community. And I think we do an okay job of doing that. So I don't know. We're kind of in the nascent stage of still working on a workflow. But yeah, that's why. It's kind of like we had to. But it's really hard. Have you ever put together a 2-minute show?
I think
shortest
no.
I've done is 4. I can't imagine.
Yeah, we do 4 hour. We do 4-hour show.
No, I'm saying even when I
oh yeah, you did.
I did a thing for Delmarva Public Radio when I was in Maryland, and they were like, okay, 4 to 5 minutes, and even then that was like torture trying to edit down that much. I'm like, there's so many scrapple details they're not gonna know.
This is what I think. Short stories are like way harder than epic. I mean, they're different genres, whatever, but short stories are like really challenging.
Okay. Also, part of Daisy's origin story is hanging out in the Ursula K. Le Guin collection at the University of Oregon.
I do love Ursula Le Guin, but no, I truly do like. I love short stories, and it's like a similar thing where it's like taking the idea and like really crunching it into like just the bones, the meat, like, but to make it not just like bones, like to make it like a rich like marrow of whatever. Like that's really hard.
Yeah, you're making a bone broth.
Yeah, you're making a bone broth. You're not putting a skeleton on display. You're making a bone broth. Okay, nice. Like it's the whole thing. Yeah, for real. That's cool.
We get to a point where I'll come in Stephanie's office and I'm like, I've got it down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And she's like, keep going. And then I'll come back 2 minutes later. I'm like, okay, 2 minutes and 15. When we hit that 2-minute mark, we're cheering.
Yeah, just cheer.
Really
That's awesome.
So
I'm telling tales out of school at this point, but one time we had another one of my coworkers lead the interview, and the edit came back 4 minutes. The first cut came back 4 minutes exactly, and my boss went, "Oh, that's not great."
Oh no. That's funny. Thanks for that answer too. I think we may have a first Funzy question that is related to that, but I'll let Dom
It's a
drop
direct
this one.
follow-up question. Yeah. Now that you work with Stephanie Priscos, do you geek out about Sacred Harp all the time?
Yeah. Okay, that's one of the things that I love so much. Sacred Harp and then Greek food in Alabama.
That's right.
As you know, Stephanie is half Greek. And
half
Italian.
Hey, she's a cousin.
But the South Louisiana Sicilian, which is a specific type of being Sicilian.
Yeah.
That's right.
So anyway, so if you don't, here's one fun thing about foodways in Alabama. Birmingham specifically, but there are other parts of the state, but Birmingham specifically has this really, really robust, interconnected kind of family of meat and threes that are all Greek owned. And so not just meat and threes, but also there are hot dog and sandwich places as well. So like if you go through Birmingham on I-65, you see Sneaky Pete's. That is a Birmingham-based thing. Zoe's Kitchen started in Birmingham. Zoe Professoris, she started that. The Tzatziki's chain was a Pahakis restaurant family group. Jim and Nick's, that kind of stuff is all Birmingham-based. Kind of restaurant groups and chains. But there are these places like Ted's is a favorite of mine. I really love Ted's. They have this pork souvlaki that is to die for. Eat that with some fried okra and some turnip greens, and you'll just never look back.
Oh my
Nikki's
God.
West.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
It's a huge cafeteria experience. It is giant, and you just can't. It's like it's truly an experience. And if you ever come to Birmingham, you should try it. And Johnny's Homewood. I love Tim Hans's and the work that he does. It's amazing. Every single thing on that menu is good. I could keep going. So
Hell yeah.
I feel like she's always talking about Sacred Heart, and she's always telling me really funny stories about it and about her friends. Oh, you want to hear the funniest?
Yes.
Stephanie Sacred Heart thing. So we had to go to do some field work over a weekend. Me, and our colleague Ann Kinsey, who Ann is the GOAT. She is so great.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know her, you should get to know her because she has amazing stories. She's been working at the council for like 30 years.
Oh, hell
And
yeah.
so we went up to Huntsville, and Stephanie is from there. And we were coming into Huntsville, and we are like, okay, Stephanie, like, this is your place. You have to show us. And she's like, well, I haven't lived there for like 13 years. And 10 years or whatever. Like, it's been over a decade. And we were like, we don't care. Show us.
Yeah.
Show us like a 2013 Stephanie. Like,
Yeah.
we want it. And so the first place we go, we come into the door in this restaurant, and she goes, hey, somebody she went to high school with. So already.
Immediately,
I was
yeah.
like, you said.
Yeah,
don't
what? Yeah.
So then we're coming back from our last interview, and we stop in Coleman, which is south of there on I-65. So we stop at a Cracker Barrel to get lunch. And so we're waiting to get seated, and here's this like man he's a server, and he goes, well, hey, Stephanie. And she's like, oh, hey. And they give a big old hug. And she's like, you guys, this is Nicholas. We sing Sacred Heart together. And I'm like, of course you do.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's awesome.
Oh
my gosh.
And he's like the sweetest person. So, and then but she has great stories, and I love hearing them.
That's awesome.
Also, it's kind of like an intimidating thing because, like, I don't know much about the tradition. I did not grow up singing Sacred Heart. I don't know much about it. It's weirdly intimidating for me for whatever reason, and it shouldn't be because these are the kindest people that you ever know. Like,
yeah.
If you have the opportunity to go to a singing, you should, just to experience it. I'm the one-woman food committee, though, when we have singings, when we host singings at the council. I'm like, what do we need? Do we need pound cake?
Yeah.
I made 2 bundt cakes, and every single piece was eaten up, so I felt good about that.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Right.
But yeah, we spend a ton of time in the car together, and I hear a lot of stories, which is fun.
That makes me happy. That's awesome. I'm glad you have a folklore friend that you can connect so well with and just learn the land together.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Oh, can I share 2 stories?
Do it.
Please.
One of my ethnomusicology students, or she's not an ethnomusicologist, she's like a piano performance major, and she's from China, and she took this class for like a requirement, my like ethnomusicology class. And I could tell that like nothing was really like sticking until we got to Sacred Harp, and just like when it clicked that like people in the South reverse engineered sheet music with like a whole different notation, she was like, it was the most impressed I've ever seen anyone at Sacred Heart.
She was like, whoa.
She was like, this. She was like,
That's awesome.
Like, yeah, it's just like it's parallel evolution.
Yeah.
It's like, here, how are we going to teach you how to read music the way everyone else figured out? No,
no way, something else entirely.
So cool.
That's cool. Yeah, that is.
But
cool.
Annemarie, did you hear Patty League tell his story about the olive oil place on Crete?
Yes,
Daisy,
I
do you
think
know this?
about that often.
The olive oil place is.
To tell it
good.
shortly, this is in when Patty League is long-haired
scoundrel,
19-year-old scoundrel,
yeah,
living in Greece. He's backpacking through Crete one summer, and he goes to like the oldest extant olive oil refinery in Greece.
So cool. I've seen how they do that. They have like the like olive oil cup that dips into the olive mesh to like collect oil. Yeah. That's so cool. I've seen that. Yeah, it's like they've developed. Yeah, so cool. Anyway, sorry.
they're doing the tour, and there are these 2 like little like brothers who are like, oh, I'm gonna touch the thing, and then they like touch something, and something breaks,
Oh God.
And like everyone notices, and the mom is like cussing them out in Greek, and then goes, "Your dad's gonna kill you!" And he like walks up there and goes, "Tarpon Springs, Birmingham." She's like, "Birmingham, yeah."
That's so cool. Yeah. Yeah, one of those like, wow, really powerful small world moments.
Yeah.
Your dad's gonna kill you.
Your dad's gonna kill you, Ray.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, Malacca.
Yeah.
To connect also to I was telling you about the Birmingham meat and threes owned by Greek folks, because I took Stephanie. I've been hyping up Johnny's real big to her, and she was like, she intellectually understood that this was a man who grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, of Greek heritage, but she was like, okay, you've been talking about this, but like, what do you know? So we go in, and she sees the menu, and she orders, and she sits down, and she's eating, and I can tell like she's computing, and I'm like, is it good, Stephanie? And she goes, why are two parts of me like just like colliding right now? She was like, I don't. It was so funny to see her like. There are other people who have the same experience in this like really like specific way.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told you, girlfriend. I told you.
Yeah.
You gotta go. You gotta have it.
That's awesome. Wow. I love like being around people having a first or like a cultural moment or like an awakening or whatever. It's like very fascinating to watch, and it's like it's always cool when you feel like you help facilitate it too. You know, it's really special. Hell yeah. I got another funsy question for you. It's a slightly different direction. Now that you have a folklore job, have you been able to define folklore yet? You don't have to define it. It's phrased as a yes or no question if you prefer it that way.
Yes. I think it's like pretty much anything you can learn within community. I mean, pretty much anything culturally you can learn within community. To be glib about it, yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Should I tell that story?
You can if you want.
Well, okay, so as I said before, like my work has been in folk life studies for a long time, but I saw myself as somebody who did Southern studies and who studied foodways and Southern foodways specifically, and so those were never words that were used, especially in the Center for the Study of Southern Culture, which who started it? Bill Ferris.
Yeah.
And then also Tom Rankin was there, and he held the post that Maria Zoring has at the Mississippi Arts Council as the folk life director there for a while before coming back and running the center. And so these people who've been doing this work have been at the center since its inception, and we've been doing that work but not using that language necessarily. And so I ended up getting this job, and I came to one of my colleagues who got a folklore degree at UNC, and I said, Sarah Camp, what is folklore? And she just laughed so hard. She laughed, and when she got done, she said, nobody knows.
There's like 100 definitions.
Like, carried with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, no one knows. Welcome to the club. So
that's cute.
I don't know.
Yeah, notoriously hard to define, and even harder perhaps to communicate in some ways, because I don't know, we just have a different sort of language to talk about this thing that feels like ubiquitously every day, so it's kind of hard sometimes. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, I think that's the cool thing is there's so many people doing this kind of work.
Yeah, in so many areas using similar and different language to talk about it. Yeah. It's cool.
And it's cool when we can have a conversation and try to learn how other people talk about it. So anyway.
Definitely. All right, I got another question for you. This might incite another story.
Okay.
How much?
We can stop talking.
How much were bees a part of your life growing up?
I guess like tangentially, I think a part of like my family lore, like big time, and my like family lineage and history, really important. But in the like, I never went out into the bee fields and worked.
Okay.
Hold on.
But I can tell you about
But you can say the beef fields,
yeah, like you know what a
the other
beef field
people.
is. You know, like other people live in beef fields or whatever. They have them.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you about the Cuts, like Cuts honey? Okay, so on my mom's side of the family,
Daisy's been told there's bee lore.
I was told.
They know more.
Listen, I was told that there was bee lore, and I'm very curious. And it was not just bee lore, but like prize winning, like accredited historical bee lore, and to you and your family broadly. I was curious.
There is. So my mom's side of the family, my grandmother, her name is Linnell Cutsleese, and she and her family migrated from Montgomery County, Alabama, to Florida in 1943, January 1st, 1943. Her mother, Inez Golson Cutts, was a woman, and she and her husband, Paul, were beekeepers together, and his father was also a beekeeper. So my cousin Ryan, who we're the same age, he's a 5th generation beekeeper. And so it started in Montgomery County. This guy, J.M. Cutts, sold finger sewing machines, and he was like kind of a weird dude, but like there was a family and this woman was like, I want a sewing machine, but I can't pay for it all in cash. Will you take some bees? And he was like, I guess, sure.
Okay.
And so he got bees, and then he was like, I guess I'm a beekeeper now. And so it just became, our family became beekeepers. And so my grandparents moved to Florida specifically because of Tupelo honey. And so they, the trees that they were using in Montgomery County for the war effort during World War II, they were cut down. So they come to Florida because my granddaddy came down and they were opening up boxes of honey. So like there's a box, and then the little, I can't remember what they're called right now because it's like 9 o'clock at night. But you know those little things where all the wax collects honey.
Yeah, like the honeycomb slat, like wood slats or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really am not an expert in beekeeping, but the stories are very important to my family. So I've got cousins, my cousin Larry Jean and my cousin Ryan, they know about it. So every single one was chock full of honey. And Tupelo honey is, in my opinion, the greatest honey there is.
And
people in Appalachia would argue. Is it your opinion second?
No, in my opinion, the second best Van Morrison album. But I'm gonna ask you, guy. Keep going.
But I mean, people love sourwood honey as well. But in terms of Tupelo honey is good in a lot of ways. It doesn't crystallize like other honeys will.
Yeah.
Like a wildflower honey, it will crystallize and then it's egg like rubbed. Clover honey will do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Tupelo doesn't. And so anyway, they became beekeepers in Florida, and in their late 70s, grandmama and granddaddy moved to Everglades City, and their neighbor was like a drug runner, I guess for the cocaine cowboys down there. And
Everglades City, cocaine cowboys.
Yeah, and so they one time they had a bear that kept getting into their bees.
Damn.
And so my grandmama, being a woman who was very pragmatic, said, I want you to go out there to a cousin and said, I want you to kill that bear. And so you're not supposed to do that. So, but mind you, this is like the late 70s. My mom was a little girl. And he killed the bear. And so they took it to the man Jim. He was the drug runner's house. They were like friends. So this little couple, and they were friends with this drug runner. I mean, they were neighbors.
Oh my goodness.
And so he took it and strung it up, and they dressed that bear out. And my grandmother, if you killed an animal, you ate it.
Yeah.
So she took that bear out and put it in the deep freeze. And the game warden came by one day, and she fed that bear to the game warden. And he said, Miss Cutts, that's the most delicious thing. This is so good.
Yeah.
Bear.
Oh my
So
god!
she's really like that.
That's like not even I am so unafraid of you. I'm so unafraid of getting caught. I'm gonna serve this to you.
That's like
And you're
Hannibal
not
Lecter,
even gonna
like,
know.
Hannibal Lecter serving serving like the last FBI agent to Will Graham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
She was just like such a lady, and I mean, Granddaddy was a really cool guy too. And I never really got to meet them. I was a baby when they passed away, but the stories are just really important. But what Dom wants me to mention is, so my Uncle Lawrence.
This was what I wanted you to mention,
Yeah.
honestly, but keep going.
Sorry, I figured that, but I was like, anyway, wanted to share that because there's so many other stories too, like bee beards that I could talk about.
Ooh.
And I guess so many other things. But anyway, my Uncle Lawrence was the state bee inspector. So he and my granddad, my papa, so my grandmother married a man who grew up in Oklahoma and ended up moving him to Florida because that's what you do when you marry a man who's from a border town, a border state, or the Midwest. They are. I married a Nebraskan, so they're like the South. It's like the siren song. So he was a beekeeper too. That's what he did with her family, and so. But my Uncle Lawrence ended up becoming the state beekeeper and was pretty influential in the state. He helped open the bee lab at the University of Florida.
Wow, that's awesome.
He was the state heritage winner.
Yeah.
So yeah, in 2013, I think. But I didn't know that. So like,
yeah,
I don't know why I didn't know that. I was at UF at the time, and the first time I ever really talked to Blaine. Oh golly, what's Blaine's last name?
Wade.
Wade.
Blaine Wade. Yes, because
has not been on the show.
I was like, that's not the right person.
Yeah.
He has not been on the show, but he called my phone while we were live, and I put him on speaker. That's as close as we got.
Oh my god!
I love that.
Aw.
He's a great guy. So he was like, oh yeah, I saw that you were from the Panhandle. Like I was the state folklorist of Florida for a while before I did the work that I'm doing now. And so we're hopping on a call about a different thing. And he was like, I know some people who are from the area that you're from. And I was like, oh yeah? Like, who is it? And he was like, Lawrence Cutts. And I was like, that's my great uncle. And he was like, no way. And I was like, yeah, way Blaine. And so, so that was fun. But yeah, I'm really proud of my cousin Ryan. Yeah, for continuing that work. So bees are important. Do you want to hear another bee story that's not connected to my family? So,
yes.
He's been waiting all week.
I love bees. I love bee stories.
This leads me to believe there's no good reason for me to believe this other than this experience that I had about this. But so when I worked for the Southern Foodways Alliance, that is based at the University of Mississippi, in the Center for Study of Southern Culture, which is this huge antebellum bulwark of a building that used to be an observatory. It's right on the Grove.
It truly is a bulwark. Yeah.
It is.
It's very presidial.
Yeah, if you ever get to go to UM and walk on the Grove, go in the center. They're cool people there. See it. It's really cool. It's spooky at night. But my last couple weeks there, I went downstairs and I went into the restroom, and there were 30 bees and they were flying around. And I said, oh no. I was always seeing some kind of wildlife at that school. There were guinea hens, guinea fowl up in the trees. I walked outside. I said, who let their guineas out? So there were guineas.
That's usually what people say when me and my siblings were at the Jersey Shore.
Oh yeah.
Wait. There we go.
Oh boy.
So one time we had guinea fowl. I'm not really sure whose they were, where they came from, but they were there for a while. We had a raccoon named Rocky who lived in the ceiling. We had possums that lived underneath the building. So there's just always like feral creatures just hanging about. Yes. And but this time it was bees. So I go up and I say to my supervisor, I was like, Melissa, there are bees in the bathroom. And so I make a sign and I'm like, bees in here, enter at your own risk. And I put it on the door. And so they call maintenance. And maintenance is like, y'all have bees living in the walls. And we're going to have to take them out.
Oh boy.
Like
What?
thousands of bees in the wall.
Oh
and
boy.
like, you can hear them. So, but these bees like would be inside and they would let me pick them up and put them inside. And I thought to myself, am I a Cinderella? I mean, Snow White. Do they know? Do they know that I will not harm them? I will only do good for them?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, it made me think about becoming, but I don't think that's in the cards for me. Because
Becoming with 2 E's?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but there was honeycomb, like, there was so much honeycomb that they discovered. I made them take a picture and send it to me. Anyway, so that was a long story, and I guess the last story I have about bees.
We have a question from chat about bees.
Yeah, we do. It's a good one.
Yes.
Someone in chat asks, BQ, my neighbor was a beekeeper. Were you ever told to bite your tongue around bees to keep them from sensing your fear?
No, but I was told to be very still. Anytime there's a bee near me, my mom would say, just be still. Just be still. And they'll leave you alone.
Wow.
Which I think is true. I think it's true. They don't want to sting you. But you know what? Like a hornet or something, they're just angry for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, hornets are different. If it's a bee, I'm like, oh, no big deal. But a hornet, I'm like, everybody, look alive. Where is the nest? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Dom, you want to ask our final funsy question before we get into the game?
Final funsy question is, Annemarie, what is your favorite town on the Forgotten Coast?
Oh man. I think it's probably Panacea.
Panacea! Nice!
Yeah, I think it's probably Panacea, but I'm a sucker for St. Mark's, because St. Mark's is interesting and has an interesting history. And you know I'm a sucker for Apalachicola too. Pretty much all of them, but I like when I go down there to either stay at Panacea or at Alligator Point.
I love Alligator Point.
What?
I want to take days at Alligator Point.
Spring Creek is my favorite place.
Oh, well, we've heard a lot. Yeah, we've heard a lot about Spring Creek.
Yeah, but in terms of like staying somewhere, it would be Panacea or Alligator Point. But Spring Creek, that place is amazing. So,
hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That is awesome. Annemarie, that concludes the formal questions that we have for you, but we have one last thing to do with you, and that is play a kind of parlor game. And while I get that set up, maybe Dom can explain what a tier list is if you've never heard of or made one before.
Annemarie, do you know what a tier list is?
I would assume it would just be ranking things.
It is ranking things, yes. Tier lists come from fighting games as a way for players to rank character choices. But on the internet, and especially on Twitch, people use them to rank all types of different things. And as you mentioned earlier, you went to the University of Florida for your undergrad and your master's, and you worked at the University of Mississippi. So we have a tier list for you. Please hit watch stream if you haven't yet.
Oh.
You are the person we have selected to make a definitive ranking.
And it is yours exclusively. This is totally your individual tier list. It is not representative of how other people should think about it, unless you want it to be. And you get to develop your own criteria for evaluation for each of these, on a scale from S to D, S being... Actually, I'll make this not dark mode. I just realized I'm in dark mode.
Yeah, I'm
sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but S being a grade above 100, D being the grade above F. But we have all 14 of the SEC schools. You can rank this whatever metric you want, whether it's just football, whether it's the college towns themselves, whether it's the cuisine.
Yeah.
In the adjacent areas. It is up to you, but we have all of the SEC schools, and you're going to rank them according to your own
criteria of evaluation.
Criteria, yes.
Okay, can you go through, so S and D again, because that didn't stick in my head.
S is 101% and
It's
above,
like-
and D is barely passing. We can create an F if something truly is like a worse
All right,
experience.
you're gonna
than
have to
being hit by
create
a
an
car.
F.
Hell yeah!
You're gonna have to create an F.
All right. Give me a moment. How do I do that on this? Wait a second.
You gotta hit the cog on D tier,
Oh, I do. Okay. I was wondering if
and then add row below.
Yeah. I was wondering.
And then
let's
and then
do, what color?
X out. No, X out.
Oh, okay.
You're changing.
Oops.
Darker.
was it?
Let me just say, all opinions are my own, and they are terrible. So
Good. This is what
F.
chat desires.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Let's make it like that.
All chat desires are hot takes and sometimes like a normal distribution.
Yes. And yes, the picture will be small. Oh, they rank S. You can also remember it as like superior, like above A.
gotcha.
And then F
Perfect.
is obviously a fail. But these rank horizontally and vertically. So
This is like the
Yeah.
Japanese grading system.
yeah.
Let me just say, I like that you chose F as purple because that's tornado emergency.
Oh,
Um,
good point.
and
Good
I
point.
feel
Oh
like
my
that-
gosh. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
Okay.
Good. I'm glad
Here's where
we're
we're gonna
resonating.
I'm gonna start off with Texas A&M
All right.
and Woo Pig, and they're gonna go in F.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
get out of here.
Is that? Did you say this one?
No,
No, wait. Hold on.
Because
Which one is it?
yes,
is the image
Woo
of it?
Pig, Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
And they're both an F.
They're both an F for me. I'm gonna tell you what. So Texas A&M, there's no shame in the game for your yell leaders to be cheerleaders. It's okay. Y'all are cheerleaders. And there's no shame in the game because you know what? Cheerleaders are excellent athletes. They're
Yes.
very good at what they do.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
they're
they are.
transferable skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yell leaders don't do anything. Y'all just have on silly looking overalls.
I love that. Is this the
Now,
order
we
you
can-
want them in? Where
we-
technically Texas A&M is above,
No, they need to be
Arkansas?
last.
which
They need
is
to be
worse.
last.
So Arkansas
Texas
is
A&M.
Arkansas is better than Texas.
above
Okay.
Texas A&M in the worst category.
Marginally.
Marginally.
Exactly.
Exactly. Marginally. Hell yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because Fayetteville has two good things. They've got a place called Kana Indian Grill, which is a very good restaurant, and they also have Virginia Siegel, who
Virginia
is a very
Siegel.
excellent human being.
Oh, true.
Gonna be on the show next month.
Yes, gonna be on the show next month. We're gonna-
Actually, is she our most frequent guest?
she or in TJ are like neck and neck, but
I think she
I
might
think
be
she
beating
technically
TJ with
beats
this next
TJ. I think
appearance.
she technically beats TJ.
Friend of the show.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's
So
next?
I think those are redeeming qualities. We're gonna put Mizzou at
That's Tiger Daisy.
Tiger one, yeah.
the Tiger. Sorry.
No, you're good. Wait.
Black.
Oh, I was like, I'm
the
sorry. I
black
was like
and
looking at
yellow
the
tiger.
I was
Yeah.
looking at the orange
They're
tea.
two tigers. We're gonna
Yeah.
put them at D.
Okay.
Because
I love this. This is we rarely have a person work like backwards up
No
this.
one
I
goes bottom to
freaking
top.
nobody goes bottom to top. I fucking love this. This
I
is
love this.
really a move, and I love it. Okay,
I have to
Yeah.
start with the things that I feel strongly about.
I love it.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because, well, I probably shouldn't rank it D because my sister-in-law did go to Mizzou, and I have a good friend who went to Mizzou. I also have a good friend who went to A&M, and she is a lovely human being, but still, I don't like them. They have
Yeah.
terrible attitudes.
Fair enough.
Mizzou, why are they in the SEC? Why? That's my question. Why is Oklahoma and Texas coming to the SEC?
Good point.
Television rights. It's
Why?
Yeah, I
You
did
know
wonder.
what?
I didn't understand.
They can't sing.
Texas being there was kind of a for me too, but yeah.
Not even Texas, but Texas A&M.
can't have
Well,
it.
yeah, Texas A&M
Yeah.
specifically.
Not
yeah.
even the
Yeah.
real one.
Yeah.
Honestly, my husband just let the dogs in, and I should let him come and be involved in
You
this
got
because
doggies?
he wants
Hell
to
yeah.
talk
Oh
to
my
me.
god. Chat
Yeah.
loves pets. Oh my goodness.
Hey, Marshall.
And they love when a husband has hot takes.
Yeah, true.
Marshall.
See Hannah Davis's episode.
True.
Oh, let me see if I can get him real quick.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh
also
yeah.
introduce you to Neville.
Aww.
Yes.
Neville.
He's called Neville the Devil. Hey, come here.
Neville the Devil. That's not what I thought, but I love that.
Do you wanna rank SEC schools with me?
Hell yeah.
Hell
And
yeah.
everything.
You would be live on air to a handful of public.
Wait, hold on. Let me turn my
Who's it with?
is with these fine folks at
Hello.
at Folkwise.
Hi.
So
I think you're gonna have to change the input-output setting on Discord.
dang.
Oh, we can hear you. I heard that. I heard that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now, yes.
Yeah.
It reset itself
Okay,
to
perfect.
default. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
This is
do...
Neville.
Oh, I love that guy! Neville,
those eyes.
Neville the
He's
Devil.
the worst. We love him so much.
Folkwise.
Who's the last SEC school?
I would say Missouri, because they shouldn't even be in the SEC.
What did you just say?
Yeah, what'd you just say? Yeah.
I give him a D rating. I rated the worst of the worst A&M.
Well, are we talking about, like, just as a vibe?
As a vibe.
As
We
a
are
vibe.
trading
Yeah,
vibes
this
here.
is, it's a totally, this is not indicative of anybody's opinion but Anne-Marie's and now yours also.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's still Missouri, because they shouldn't be in the SEC. It's,
Keep it how it is.
Alright,
Keep it
alright.
how it is.
Alright.
but A&M is also a cult, so they should be.
True. Good point. They're a cult.
They're a cult of
Okay.
they're like a petrostate cult. They're like an oil cult.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I would also rate D Tennessee. And you know why? I'll tell you why. Because they are low down, they are dirty, they are some snitches. And that is an orange you can't set with.
Above
Let's
or
fucking
below?
go.
Above or below?
Yeah, Arkansas should be down there, too.
I put
It
it
is down there.
Is Tennessee above Mizzou or below
Yeah.
Mizzou?
It's above Mizzou.
Okay.
Because Mizzou is like, why are they there? Why are
Okay.
you even here?
Alright,
I
alright.
feel like Missouri and South Carolina are about the same, and they're just everybody's afterthought. Like, no one thinks about them first.
Damn.
Damn.
Unless it's women's basketball. I mean, that's the only thing South Carolina's bringing to the table. Outside
Fair
of
enough.
that.
Fair enough.
Steve Spurrier was there for a while. That's all I know.
I love
Just
this.
the hats that say Cox are kind of funny, but that's
Yeah, that's, yeah. Do you
That's
want me
pretty
to,
funny.
you want me to put them also in
What is
D, like
C?
top of
I
D?
would put him in a C.
Okay.
Because nobody
Bottom
you-
of C so
nobody
far?
thinks of you at all. You know?
Yeah, you can
That's
One of
also...
those
C.
questions.
C's get degrees.
Pretty much.
You can also
You know-
go back and change the order too if you like get more refined about your opinion. So no, they're not stuck in place yet until the end.
I need to put Georgia at a D as well, as any
Ooh.
self-respecting Florida Gator.
Floridian. Yeah.
Where like right, like above Tennessee, but like what position on this?
Above because they are competitors.
Okay,
That is-
okay,
They came to play.
yeah.
They came to
I
play.
hate them, but they came to play.
You know you can always beat the Vols. You're not always going to be able to beat Georgia.
As a Florida State fan, I understand.
Yeah. I'm gonna also put Kentucky at C because also you don't really think of them unless it's basketball
it's
season,
basketball.
and then you're like, ugh, Kentucky, man. And also
Yeah.
Lexington's a pretty cool place.
Yeah. I think,
Shouts to friend of the show, Jim Seaver.
I was gonna say Joel Chapman. I know has opinions about UK basketball.
Yeah, there are people in my life who I dearly love who are big into UK basketball. So we'll leave them at a C. I'm thinking also put
I
what?
was going to say,
Your
LSU, I
thoughts?
feel like, is conflicting because people always say that they have the best fans. And I grew up in Omaha with LSU baseball won a bunch of national titles, College World Series there. But
Yeah.
I would argue that their fans are either the best or the worst, and there's no middle ground.
It's because they go up there and they drink a lot.
Ah,
So
Yeah,
they can be really
Louisiana.
rowdy.
Yeah.
They can be
People
awful,
from South Louisiana know how to have a
but
good time.
amazing. So I feel like they're right in the middle.
Yeah, I'd put them at a C as well.
like top,
Top
I
yeah,
have
C.
top
no
of
like,
C.
strong feelings about them.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Les Miles smells like corn dogs, as everybody knows. So,
We all know that.
We all know that, of course. Yeah.
then I would put put Vandy at C too, because Vandy is just like sweet peas. Y'all are
Oh,
so
look at
those little
smart. And you are
nerds.
not very coordinated. Yeah, I put them above LSU.
Above LSU. Okay.
Yeah.
We're down to the top
Wow.
5.
Yeah, damn,
Like,
top 5.
sweetheart.
I love this.
I feel like Vanderbilt's like Missouri and South Carolina is an afterthought, but they're really smart and they're good at a handful of sports, so like they have redeeming qualities.
In
Nashville's
case
fun.
you can't tell,
Yeah.
these are the conversations that we have in our house.
I love it. I love it.
This
This is what folklore really is.
And really, for me, we could just stop here and put everybody else in C and just put Alabama at A, but
We're
I'm biased.
Anne-Marie
He
gets
went
final
Alabama.
say.
Man. Okay, we're gonna put. I'm now going to put. You
I
want
love-
me to put Auburn down? Like, I really don't. I don't really care. They're the little brother.
Can I say how I love how the 5 you have left are all like it's like a band across like Gulf of Mexico now. You know what I mean? Way
Yeah,
to
that's
go.
kind
You
of true.
did
That's
it.
true.
You really
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah, you really the
ones that
Gulf
have
really
left
shines
are the
through.
ones where we've lived in Alabama and Mississippi, and she went to Florida. So like these are the
Exactly.
ones that
Yeah.
we, like,
Right.
Exactly.
no.
You know what? So, my deputy director doesn't flay me alive. Let's put Auburn at B.
Okay.
He'll be happy. He'll be happy about that. I've never met anybody in my life that loves Auburn as much as he does, and that's saying something. And then I'm gonna put State
Yeah, put
at
State.
at A, because
That's
State there's another ranking system. Don't worry. State they are the little brother of the SEC. They're like your favorite little brother who is so happy to see you and has no care in the world, and they're just here to have a good time.
Hell
Aw.
yeah. Hell
And
yeah.
also, they do a pretty good job. So, and you know what? It doesn't matter who wins at the Egg Bowl. It's just who's gonna have a good time. And
That's good.
important.
That is important.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, and now, I'm sorry. Alabama needs to go at A above State.
All right. Oh, sorry. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, now here comes my superlatives. We're gonna put Gainesville up at the top because at the very top because I had some very transformative experiences there. But we're
Hell
gonna
yeah.
put the University of Mississippi above Gainesville because that place
Hell
became
yeah.
my home. And then that's it. That's my
Wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Wow. Definitive, to the point, from bottom to top. I love this. This is a beautiful tier list right here, I think.
Ole Miss, by God.
Oh, this, my God. Dom, do you have something to
Lim
wrap
Flam
this
Bim
up
Bam.
with? I don't know, I'm
Could
trying to think.
not improve on this.
I'm trying to
Again,
think, like,
never seen anyone like commit to bottom to top.
yeah, they
that-
either mix
that was
it up
so
or they do top
dramatic.
down. Yeah, I was,
Yeah, a lot of people go top down. I've never seen
Yeah.
anyone do one of these
Yeah,
bottom
it's
up.
really
with
good.
You're big
dramatic.
haters
Love
when
it.
it comes to when
Love
it comes
it.
to
I
sports.
appreciate
You don't like to hate.
that.
the chat loves a strong opinion. Come on, life's too short not to just tell it like it is. You know?
I mean, whenever they chant SEC, I don't believe. Like, I want every SEC team to lose every week. Like, I put everybody down at the bottom outside of Alabama.
A little biased.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit biased.
Daisy, what did I say earlier? Like, what do you think of Alabama? And I'm like, football.
Football. Good point.
That's the right thing to think
Good
of.
point.
Or
Yeah.
law school, too.
Yeah,
That's
law
just
school,
people
yeah.
figured out.
Law school.
Okay.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Wow, this is amazing. Well, Anne-Marie, this completes the formal close of our interview today on Folkwise. Thank you so much for helping
Thank you
put
for
this
having me.
together.
Thank you for staying a little long and
Yeah.
letting the questions evolve too.
Yeah, thanks for
Sorry I
staying.
cut y'all.
No, this was a winner.
Oh, I mean, we're gonna be up for another maybe 20 minutes. Maybe we'll see if we can get.
We'd be
All
doing
right.
whale stuff if we weren't doing tier lists.
Yeah, I want to say, just thank you so much again. Thanks for inviting your husband on to help you do
Sorry.
this. No, it's
Dog.
hysterical, and your dog is awesome. This is the thing that makes me feel like we're really resonating, and folklore is bringing us together in a really powerful, fun way that is both it's the work we do, but it's also us just being people. So this is really great. The chat is already doing what I was gonna, prompt them to do, which is drop ladders, which is sort of like our emoji for like hype, good job, thank you for being here. And if you don't have that, give a hearty GGs. And Anne-Marie, thank you so much, finally, for being on the show. This is your natural out. If you would like to
say goodbye,
go
so
to
yeah,
you should probably get some food.
Thank you again.
Yeah,
you guys have a great time finishing the game.
I don't know if we're gonna maybe finish it tonight, just because we'll finish the chapter tonight, and I will be sure to message you and tell you what kind of collection our whale adopts in its growing process. It's very important. I also have some oyster-based meme content to send you too, based on our conversation. So look forward for some messages with strange and silly memes from me. Good night.
I love that.
Special emotional. Quilts have had meaning on many levels. Making quilts helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.